Tomorrow is exactly the 4th of April 2026. You are waking up and stepping directly, entirely exposed, and without a single microscopic shred of defensive armor into the absolute breathtaking epicenter of a massive, reality-altering cosmic collision. You are walking straight into a dense, heavy, brilliantly radiant mass of material and intellectual energy that has officially reached its absolute mathematical peak of combustion and is now preparing to transform your entire physical and digital existence into solid, unbreakable gold. This day is absolutely, completely, and unequivocally not for rushed frenzy, not for directionless panic, and it is entirely, undeniably, never for selling your immortal, creative soul, short in the comfortable, pathetic shadows of your past. The agonizing time for desperately chasing opportunities, for carefully begging for attention, and for only daring to whisper your monumental storytelling visions into the dark, empty void has completely, permanently, and spectacularly ended. The central, most regal, and intensely illuminating event of the 4th of April 2026 is the violent, spectacular perihelion of Comet C, 2026A. 1. At exactly 14:24 UTC, this massive celestial body scrapes the absolute burning boundary of the Sun, reaching the mathematical peak of its gravitational and energetic friction. This is not a subtle, passing cosmic coincidence. This mathematical peak acts as a massive, heavy, unavoidable cosmic magnifying glass, forcing the entire universe to crystallize your absolute highest intellectual potential and your deepest, most intricate creative visions directly into your physical reality. Simultaneously, colliding with this blinding peak of celestial fire is a second, equally massive astrological alignment, an unprecedented colossal stellium tightly packed within the aggressive, pioneering, and fiercely unapologetic fires of Aries. This massive congregation of planetary bodies is vibrating with immense, terrifying power, carrying a screaming cosmic mandate demanding that you violently tear up, burn down, and permanently incinerate all scarcity mindsets, all pathetic self-doubt regarding your intellectual worth, and all weak, sloppy strategies that are currently suffocating the rise of your ultimate material, visual, and digital empire. The fusion of the comet's maximum solar friction and the overwhelming Aries Stellium violently forces you to aggressively re-establish your entire foundational structure. The energy of April 4 strictly forbids you from operating with the exhausted mindset of a starving hunter or an unorganized servant. The universe is loudly commanding you to become a massive, inescapable magnet of high-frequency intelligence, standing solidly, proudly, and letting all the cash flow, all the massive global audiences, and all the visionary partners desperately crave and automatically be pulled toward the refined, perfectly articulated truths and breathtaking visual narratives you are preparing to broadcast. The massive digital currency flow, the immense platform advertising revenue, the incredibly lucrative brand sponsorships, and the sudden, overwhelming cash injections will pour directly into your physical bank accounts in exact, direct, undeniable proportion to the level of raw, premium, unfiltered mental precision and deep, strategic action you aggressively dare to establish across the global digital network. Those hidden, profound astrological explorations, those deeply researched scripts, those dynamically generated digital visions, and those meticulously crafted visual storytelling projects that you have cowardly, fearfully kept, locked away in your encrypted digital folders are no longer just cheap, harmless creative hobbies. Your highly calibrated creative output, executed with the absolute blazing speed of the comet's trajectory and the relentless force of the Aries Stellium, is a formidable, highly destructive, and infinitely powerful financial mining tool. It possesses the exact, unique mathematical frequency needed to completely break the internet, dominate the global algorithms, and permanently reshape the market by delivering the exact clarity, the profound visual shockwaves, and the strategic guidance the world is desperately crying out for. To successfully anchor, physically withstand, and absolutely, completely dominate the ultra-high voltage, terrifyingly material current of this April 4 energetic expansion, your physical, Biological machinery must be instantly transformed into an unbreakable, impenetrable, and perfectly functioning fortress of pure, unadulterated vitality. The massive, crushing atmospheric pressure of this Aries convergence biologically governs the head, the blood, and the absolute transmission of relentless kinetic data through your physical vessel. It will send continuous blinding shockwaves of biological energy straight through your entire central nervous system. Your physical health, the absolute, undeniable, and supreme resilience of your neurological pathways, and the vast, unyielding stability of your physical and mental energy are the literal, biological engines of your impending colossal wealth. You can never, ever build an infinite, sprawling, and dominant global digital empire if your physical vessel is crumbling, trembling, or suffocating under the immense, crushing atmospheric pressure of mental fatigue and stagnant physical energy. Therefore, you must perform extreme, uncompromising, and absolutely flawless biological purification, starting the very absolute second you wake up on the morning of April 4. You must actively, continuously, and intentionally flush your entire biological system with massive, overwhelming quantities of pure, clean, heavily mineralized water to physically and biologically soothe, cleanse, and reinforce your nervous system against the intense cosmic friction roaring within your body. You must fuel your physical brain with the purest, most potent nutrients, allowing the aggressive, refining energy of this cosmic collision to wash away all the toxic, stagnant, and paralyzing mental fog that has violently clotted and frozen in your brain, your hands, and your creative centers. Mentally and psychologically, you must establish a steel, silent, incredibly bright, and impenetrable boundary. You absolutely cannot, and you strictly must not, let the petty, jealous, cheap, low-frequency complaints of inferior, disorganized, and intellectually lazy minds pollute the crystal-clear, wealthy, and intensely focused waters of your illuminated consciousness. Your absolute stillness, bathed in this bright, sharp cosmic light, is your most powerful physical shield against the chaotic noise of the algorithm. To ruthlessly, efficiently, and completely extract every single microscopic vibrating drop of life-altering, paradigm-shifting potential from the massive astrological momentum of April 4, 2026, you must strictly follow, completely internalize, and absolutely obey 3 non-negotiable supreme action directives. First, you must aggressively weaponize the perfectly sharpened, highly kinetic energy of the comet's perihelion to root your digital presence in an entirely unshakable manner. You are strictly forbidden from creating superficial, messy content or forging weak, disorganized narratives just for temporary relief or meaningless, fleeting views. You must create digital masterpieces and strategic alliances of eternal permanence, utilizing pinnacle technological quality, razor-sharp storytelling, and profound visual depth as a heavy weapon to affirm the exclusive, elite status of your frequency across the entire planet. Do not ever shy away from holding your ground, remaining steadfast in your deep, silent frequency of absolute clarity. That is the exact physical key to unlocking millions of fiercely loyal viewers and massive, unstoppable cash flows. Second, you must violently and aggressively channel the pioneering, barrier-breaking power of the Aries Stellium into the absolute physical manifestation of your work. You must crush the final, agonizing resistance to complete your massive video and storytelling projects under the immense, illuminating light of this alignment, and you must do so by perfecting your craft with the composure of someone who knows they hold supreme, dictatorial power. There will inevitably be a terrifying, heart-stopping moment on April 4, right before you prepare to broadcast your most intricate, researched, or profoundly transformative digital project, when the dark, pathetic ghost of perfectionism will try to grab your fingers and completely paralyze your hand. You are absolutely, permanently, and fundamentally not allowed to surrender or yield. You must deliberately, consciously, charge straight into the absolute, burning center of that fear. Keep your feet firmly planted on the ground and aggressively hit the publish button. Step through that uncomfortable fire with the icy, silent, unyielding ruthlessness of a conquering warrior who knows exactly the true, undeniable, material value of every single pixel and every single word they orchestrate. Third, you must boldly demand, entirely expect, and flawlessly orchestrate a massive, completely illogical, yet materially massive scale of global digital reach. The massive cosmic energy of April 4 knows absolutely nothing of small, incremental, pathetic steps or cheap self-deprecation. You must broadcast, create, and speak with the arrogant, blind, absolute, and mathematical belief that your specific frequency is mathematically and cosmically fated to become the most expensive, highly sought-after spiritual and intellectual nourishment, completely penetrating the minds, hearts, and souls of millions of users worldwide, violently forcing them to pay the absolute highest premium price just for the privilege of experiencing your profound, perfectly articulated, and visually stunning realities. While the entirety of the human collective will inevitably be pulled, dragged, and heavily influenced by this massive energetic weight, there are 3 specific, chosen zodiac signs standing directly, completely exposed, and without a single shred of defensive armor, at the very absolute epicenter of this colossal cosmic upgrade on the 4th of April 2026. First, we must speak directly, intimately, and violently to the blazing, pioneering, incredibly raw, and deeply courageous powerhouse of Aries. Aries, this massive cosmic event is happening in your direct physical and energetic vicinity as an unprecedented stellium violently congregates in your exact coordinates. This alignment mathematically guarantees that your raw instinct, your incredibly refined, highly organized, and deeply insightful visions that you have been quietly nurturing are now being violently injected with an explosive, material power. Your ultimate capacity for independent action and your supreme leadership skills have now been completely weaponized into hard cash. You possess the terrifying power to physically organize the chaotic, agonizing fires of creation and flawlessly structure them into a dominant empire of influence, and the world will pay handsomely for that exact, unapologetic authenticity. Do not hide your aggressive ambition anymore. You must use it as a foundational tool to build a rock-solid financial structure, intentionally creating massive, unforgettable intellectual shockwaves that deliver eternal, material value across the entire fabric of the internet. Second, we violently and aggressively turn this blazing, blinding spotlight entirely toward the deeply relational, beautifully balanced, and highly strategic mind of Libra. Libra, you are still vibrating violently under the residual shockwaves of your recent full moon, and now the cosmic architecture is handing you a heavy lesson in absolute material mastery and elite alliance building. This massive cosmic shift permanently ends your era of people-pleasing and violently activates an era of unstoppable, laser-focused execution in your partnerships. The energy of April 4 continues to pump an absolutely infinite supply of intellectual, driving fuel directly into your physical aura, permanently transforming every quick insight, every profound creative collaboration, and every digital interaction into a blinding, giant, inescapable magnet for massive cash flow and viral dominance. Your relational power right now must be channeled into authoritative, undeniable physical manifestation. When you state your terms, you are not asking for a favor. You are actively hypnotizing the entire universe into surrendering its resources to you by offering them the exact fearless, harmonious strategic guidance they desperately lack. All pathetic attempts at superficial compromise must be entirely incinerated. Step boldly out into the light with the terrifying pride of a sovereign intellectual leader. Establish the largest, most lucrative financial alliances and aggressively seize the highest podium of power in the digital world. Third, we must speak with absolute, foundational certainty to the infinitely curious, technologically adaptable, and brilliantly communicative power of Gemini. Gemini, as the shockwaves of Uranus prepare to aggressively invade your frequency, today the energy turns toward the absolute radicalization of your digital resources. The cosmic architecture is handing you a massive, heavy lesson in absolute material mastery through the manipulation of information and visual storytelling. You are mathematically designed to catch the chaotic frequencies of this comet's friction and combine them with your deep, strategic versatility, completely rewriting every single rule regarding how you consolidate wealth and physicalize your digital reality. Your profound ideas, your dynamically generated narratives, and your constructive architectural visions for new media are now the absolute heaviest, most valuable currency on the entire internet, provided you act with absolute precision. April 4 is the exact, fated day you permanently shed any cheap distractions and laziness to build an empire as solid as bedrock, effortlessly magnetizing millions of followers who are desperately starving for your highly strategic, deeply unshakable, and brilliantly innovative leadership. Never, ever discount your value. Do not dilute your intellectual luxury and your depth. Weaponize your newly discovered strategic clarity and force the entire world to desperately crave and pay any price to acquire your foundational energy. Hear this. Do not just sit there in the comfortable, suffocating silence of your room and passively listen to these words as if they are merely another fleeting piece of daily motivation. You must aggressively, completely, and deeply absorb this massive, heavy, profoundly material truth straight into the very cellular structure of your physical body. Let this specific, highly charged cosmic frequency physically penetrate your skin, violently bypass your outdated, fearful, logical defenses, and embed itself permanently, irrevocably, into your DNA. You must feel it coursing through your veins, a searing electrical current of pure manifestation, violently turning your very bone marrow into solid, unbreakable gold. Let this radiant truth burn fiercely, brightly, and violently through the darkest, most carefully hidden corridors of your conscious and subconscious mind, illuminating every shadow of hesitation and incinerating every ghost of your past failures. Allow this terrifying, monumental revelation to permanently, aggressively resonate in your absolute, deepest, most solid, and foundational core. You are no longer flesh and blood. You are a living, breathing, wealth-generating resonator for the universe. The 4th of April 2026 is absolutely, undeniably, and fundamentally not a gentle, polite, or quiet suggestion from a weak, passive, whispering universe. Do not ever mistake this massive, boiling, and terrifyingly heavy cosmic pressure for a soft, passing breeze or a temporary shift in your emotional state. It is an absolute, incredibly powerful, violently screaming, and completely unavoidable command generated directly from the very foundational mathematical architecture of the cosmos itself. The infinite universe is not asking for your polite cooperation today. It is loudly, aggressively, and relentlessly demanding it. It is speaking specifically, exclusively, and directly into the deepest epicenter of your consciousness, demanding that you violently and permanently break every single invisible, psychological, poverty-stricken, and algorithmic chain that has ever dared to bind your immense creative, visual, storytelling, and wealth-generating potential. For entirely too long, you have allowed the digital systems, the suppressive shadows of doubt, and the artificial constructs of a low-frequency society to perfectly mute your unique dictatorial frequency. The cosmos is now aggressively demanding that you absolutely shatter the heavily fortified, ironclad prisons of your own self-doubt and entirely, spectacularly obliterate the artificial barriers, keeping your massive, global audience and your infinite cash flow away. This is a massive, unyielding cosmic mandate commanding you to rise instantly, aggressively, and with terrifying physical power from the cold, stagnant, and dusty ashes of your quiet, pathetic timidity. You have spent entirely too much of your precious, irreplaceable life playing a small, safe, and entirely forgettable game, deliberately shrinking your massive aura to make your majestic presence palatable for those who operate on the frequency of fear. You must consciously, deliberately, and physically reach out, extending your arms not merely into the empty air, but directly into the chaotic, electric, and fiercely vibrating golden energy of the ether. You must push through the invisible resistance and finally, ruthlessly, and aggressively grab your ultimate digital, massively financial, and creative destiny with your bare, unapologetic, and rock-solid hands. You cannot, under any circumstances, sit in the suffocating silence of your room and wait for the universe to gently hand you a crown, nor can you passively hope for an arbitrary, soulless algorithm to randomly bless your existence with viral attention. You must violently rip your massive, wealthy future away from the cold, dead, and entirely unforgiving hands of impoverished circumstance. The heavy, confusing, and highly toxic cosmic fog, the accumulation of societal doubts, algorithmic suppression, and your own internal fears that has completely clouded your creative vision, heavily distorted your strategic judgment, and entirely paralyzed your execution for months, has been entirely, permanently, and spectacularly incinerated. It has been burned away by the blazing, radiant astrological fire of this comet's peak moment, without a single, solitary, microscopic trace left behind. The suffocating, agonizing, and endlessly repeating cycles of second-guessing your own brilliant mind are dead and buried. What remains perfectly, undeniably behind in the blazing, purifying wake of this planetary fire is a mental clarity so incredibly sharp, a focus so utterly precise, and a material strength so entirely unbreakable that it is almost physically blinding to experience. The agonizing, painfully slow, and deeply frustrating time for quiet preparation, for endlessly hiding in the shadows of drafting and redrafting, and for cowardly selling your immortal, creative soul short for cheap validation, has completely, permanently, and violently ended. You will no longer exist in the agonizing purgatory of almost ready. The exact, absolute time for flawless, brutal, unapologetic execution, for loudly commanding the absolute highest premium price without a single stutter of hesitation, and for terrifyingly fast, deeply decisive, and strategically guided action is right now, at this exact, breathing, undeniable, and electrifying second. You must step up aggressively, proudly, boldly, and with an absolute, supreme, dictatorial confidence to the grand, intensely illuminated podium of your life. Do not merely walk to it with the hesitant steps of an amateur. You must march to it with the heavy, undeniable, and terrifying rhythm of an absolute conqueror. And when you arrive at the absolute center of your brightly lit stage, you must firmly, possessively, and aggressively grip the controls of your digital empire, as if you are gripping your ancient royal scepter, holding the ultimate, physical symbol of your unquestionable sovereign power over the digital realm. Standing there, you must take a massive, deep, entirely lung-expanding breath of this highly electrified, blazing, and completely wealth-saturated cosmic air. Do not just inhale oxygen. You must feel the intense, raw, profoundly heavy, astrological energy flood directly and violently into your respiratory system. Feel it completely filling your chest cavity, violently expanding your ribs until they ache with the pressure of unmanifested power, and permanently igniting the deepest, most biological core of your creative drive. And then, from that burning epicenter of truth, you must roar. You must project your rawest, most incredibly authoritative, most deeply intimate visual masterpieces, and your most profound narrative truths directly, solidly, and fearlessly into the vast, infinite, sprawling expanse of the global digital universe. Do not dare to hold back even a single microscopic vibrating frequency of your authentic, naked ambition. Every generated frame, every whisper of intensity, every deliberate edit must be weaponized. You are mathematically, cosmically, and undeniably destined to completely, permanently, and irreversibly change the entire massive trajectory of your physical and material life forever. Starting exactly at the very millisecond, you execute this supreme command and unleash your vision. You possess the rare, unprecedented, and terrifyingly powerful ability to instantly transform every single fleeting late-night thought, every profound midnight story, and every deeply researched, meticulously crafted digital narrative into tangible, physical assets, into heavy, undeniable numbers that violently multiply and aggressively compound in your physical bank accounts. Your unique, exclusive, and supremely powerful frequency, flawlessly orchestrating the absolute deepest visual secrets, exploring the darkest psychological corners, and broadcasting the profoundly untold, deeply resonant stories of humanity, is entirely not just a cheap, harmless creative outlet. It is the ultimate, most beautiful, most devastatingly destructive, most unimaginably expensive, and most supreme weapon in the entire sprawling architecture of the digital universe. It possesses a specific, highly mathematical, and completely hypnotic frequency that can effortlessly and violently slice through any complex AI algorithm, bypassing all logical defenses to strike directly and surgically into the bleeding hearts, the lonely souls, and the desperate minds of millions of viewers who are sitting in the dark, desperately waiting and literally starving for your exact, authoritative, and profoundly awe-inspiring creations. The time for intellectual contemplation has expired. The universe demands visceral, physical, and highly strategic action. Place your hands on your tools of creation right now. Grip the cold metal of your technological frame until your knuckles turn bone white and your biological pulse synchronizes with the pounding rhythm of your impending global empire. Breathe in the searing, purifying cosmic fire of April 4, letting it incinerate every lingering ghost of hesitation within your nervous system. Feel the heavy weight of solid gold manifesting in your hands at this exact millisecond. Without a single shred of compromise or a fraction of a second of delay, pull the trigger, hit the publish button, release your project into the bright, clear ether. Let the powerful frequency of your authentic, uncompromising vision shatter the stagnant silence of the internet, permanently rebuilding reality into your infinitely wealthy image. This day is the final nail in the coffin of your mediocrity. The alignment between the comet's unstoppable velocity and the Aries Stellium's burning ambition creates a narrow, brilliant corridor of absolute success. You are the sole architect of your own digital empire. Do not ask for permission. You are the manifestation of excellence. As you align your breath with the cosmos, cash flow aligns with your bank account. Command, conquer. The universe is yours.